one. I posted Anachronism 3396 called The Witch's Unbearable Relief. Chips on shoulders rust 10 men, give cowardly lions shoulder blisters, leave a taste of dendrite and battery acid in scarecrows' mouths, give Toto a case of the incessant round and rounds, and empower Dorothy with a sense that if things continue along in this particular trajectory, she might soon find that she's grown some wings and is able to fly home on her very own. As for the witches, each are empowered by a love-hate relationship with their own power, although only two ever give a second thought on the feel of that power, and neither of them feel the tingle of the potency of the darker arts involved in being a scoundrel with such power that the words formed within their mouths might be chewed, swallowed, and digested, often quite uncomfortably, might as easily be projectile vomited from the landing of each crumbled spell sitting at the bottom of their stomachs after sliding like dark centipede-like creatures down their elongated esophagi. No matter which direction spells go, the damage is the same. The life of a hag, especially one so constantly scared, shitless of a little damp spot, a rainstorm, much less a thunderstorm, the oceans, the tidal waves, rivers, creeks, sex climaxes, men sweating, the fear of a tiny teardrop emanating from one of their very eyes is one filled with an extremely elevated anxiety, hence they sound so tormented, demonic, however, communicating how long had it been since either had any, filled with such absurdities, filled with emotions like excitement, giddiness, fear, loss. I'm melting, but let me offer you up. What sounded like raspy horror was the most immense relief, the greatest joy she'd ever known. She was a witch, cursed with a raspy and nasally voice that could make any utterance sound as if it were her dying words. But these, her actual dying words, the screams, what came at us as the horror, were of relief. Sheer release, the closest thing to pleasure she'd gotten since when? Were those moments that the bit of water from that pail at first began to shrink the screaming, warded witch and inevitably took her into the ground so that she flows many a separate way, somehow making her way to one vast expanse of ocean after another, the wet expanse from which we had all originally arrived. The relief would last at least until then, although it would dissipate as what was left of her became more dispersed. Once a witch is gone, she's gone, but there nevertheless comes out of the intoxicated earth the fundamentals for more to rise and fall, just as this one had done, as Dorothy began to fall deeper and deeper into that feverish slumber, as the tornado twisted and swept through the dusty corners of several states, the incantations that took her over. There's no place like home. Follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. These were the spells of Dorothy the Kansas Witch. It had already been written, not in books, mind you, but in the stars, and within the tattoos deep set within the skins of the flying monkeys and the drunken munchkins.